Okay, call this Village of Greenhills regular council meeting May 26, 2015 to order. Have a prayer, moment of silence, reflection by Maria.
Lord, we ask you to send your spirit of servanthood upon all of us gathered here this evening to do your work for the benefit of all in our community. We ask you to bless our elected and appointed officials so they may deliberate with wisdom and act with courage. Bless the members of our community who come here to speak before the council so they may state their cause with honesty and humility. Lord, we ask you to bless us all, that everything we do here tonight will move you to welcome us one day into your kingdom as good and faithful servants. We ask this in the name of our brother Jesus. Amen.
Amen. Pledge.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Clerk, call the roll.
Roll call. Here. Dries.
Here.
Halter. Hermes.
Here.
Lee.
Here.
Walther.
Here.
Moore.
Here. And without exception, Mr. Halter has an excused absence. Okay, approval of minutes. Minutes of the April 23rd or 28th regular council meeting and the May 12th meeting work session.
Mr. Mayor, I move that we accept the minutes of the April 28, 2015 regular council meeting and the May 12th meeting work session as presented by the clerk.
Second.
Okay. Hearing no changes, corrections, minutes are approved. Okay. This is the time for residents to address council. Time for citizens to comment on matters before council or to ask questions of concern to them. When recognized, please come forward to the lectern, give your name and address, then state your comments or questions. Council meetings are tape recorded for ease of transcription. Comments are limited to 2 minutes.
Okay. My name is Thad Willer. I live on Damon Road. I am come before council now today to ask you to take consideration of restoring what was once a pocket park or an open field off of DeWitt Road. The original plat of Greenhills shows an open field. That's back in the 30s. I checked that plat, not recently, but in the last 2 years. That field, there was a development put on the front of it on DeWitt, which was apartment buildings. Since that made what was behind it relatively unusable, the original developer of Greenhills that owned that property, as far as I could tell, somewhere between 1970 and 1975, split off parts of what that open field was to adjoining property owners if they wanted to buy it. The predecessor of my own title bought a piece of it, so I have an irregular piece behind my lot. There's a regular piece behind the lanes next to me and the brown fields next to him. Now, where am I going on this? The original reason that became inconvenient or unusable was because the buildings that were put in front. Those have been gone since 2008 or shortly thereafter. What is left is roughly an acre on one side, I think the Trinan's home, that is owned by the village, is zoned residential, and another roughly block and a half lot right behind my home that's on 27 Damon. Now, why am I concerned about this? When you tore down the buildings, and no one objected to that because they had become into disuse, the concrete stayed in many areas, and the parking lots. Now, I think everyone realizes parking lots and concrete do not absorb water very well. As a consequence, I and my wife had to spend about $1,500 last year just to put gravel up on one side of our boundary line next to the lanes. They had to do some stuff too, and I think the brownfields next door will have to do it. I think this would be a good time to reinstate a pocket park right there on the city-owned property. It's right across to the PUD. It's not convenient or economically feasible to use that as a PUD. It's not big enough. It's zoned residential, and you might get 2, maybe 3 homes on the R1 area where it's zoned. They're not going to be built there. It's not economically feasible to build a home of that type without having it, once it's completed, worth about half of what cost of the home was. That's just the nature of our property values now in Greenhills and a lot of our area. Don't like it, but it's the way it is. So I think the best thing we can do is at least restore part of what used to be or was intended to be many, many years ago to be a pocket park. And that would be enough for some kids to play on there. And I just invite you to go around DeWitt. And there you'll see what I'm talking about. They're not hard to find. They don't take up the whole city, but it's those areas where really it's not convenient to do anything with now, and it will not be in the future, but it could become a community asset. The only thing that has to be removed is the concrete and the blacktop because it's causing problems with water downhill and the topography. And that, not blaming anyone personally for that, that's just the nature of the thing. Water goes downhill. So I'd like you to consider it because right now it's right on your use as a lot that you're paying taxes on. There shouldn't be any insurance on it because there's no improvements on them.
Okay.
But you're at least paying, so just kind of think about it. It'd be a win-win. We make it public property, no longer taxable, it's no longer draining our pocketbook, and it's an asset to the community. And maybe some of the kids in the neighborhood could play in there with a playground or something. So ask you to at least consider it. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Anyone else?
Good evening. Can you guys hear me okay? I'm sorry. Thanks for having me. My name's Annie Wilkerson. I'm with Congressman Winstrup's office. I met with the mayor and Yvonne last year, making my rounds to all the communities. I just wanted to basically introduce myself so you guys have a face and a contact in our district office. I'm based at the Beachmont office in Anderson. And just to let you and the residents know the services that our office provides. Our district office is basically a liaison to federal agencies. So if you have any issues with passports, visas, I know I would have never have thought to contact my congressman to get help with a passport, but if you have an emergency situation, you need to travel, we do those types of services. Any issues with the IRS, Social Security, Medicare, veterans issues are really big. Any issues with the VA, we'd love to hear about them. The congressman is on a lot of the committees that handle VA issues, so it would be good to hear if you know of anybody that's having problems. As far as legislative issues, we are kind of a conduit to the DC staff. So if there's anything you want to bring to the congressman's attention, you can run it through us and we'll get it to the appropriate people in DC, or you can call that office direct. We also do Service Academy nominations. So if you know of any bright young students, 8th grade all the way up to seniors in high school who would be interested in an amazing career and education, send them our way and I'll be happy to talk to them. I handle that process for the office. We could also order American flags that have been flown over the Capitol for special occasions or events that you'd like, and we also schedule tours if anybody ever visits DC. So basically I just wanted to introduce myself and let you guys know what all we do here in the district, and feel free to contact us if you ever need anything. Do you have any questions while I'm up here? All right, thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Anyone else? All right, moving on. Reports of village officials, municipal manager Yvonne Cove.
Thank you, Mayor. I do have a number of items to run through with council tonight. I did distribute the most recent code enforcement report, the summaries through April, and no surprise, you'll see that grass and weeds it's that time of the year. So there have been quite a few of those violations, but once again, you know, we get pretty good compliance, and we're actually not cutting as many as we had to last year. We're just a handful, so that's going pretty well. Another big project that's wrapping up is the Winton Road Phase 2 improvements. and we've done the punch list. There are a number of items that have to be addressed till we consider that absolutely final, but that has gone well and is nearing completion. So that's great to see. Our pool has opened for the season this past weekend, so finally, finally after that winter. Saturday and Sunday obviously were really good days at the pool, and then Monday that weather was just really bad news, so attendance was way down on Monday. But just a reminder to citizens that the pool is now open every day through the summer from 12 to noon every day, 7 days a week. A couple of things that we'll be working on will be updates on the garbage and refuse collection disposal codes. This kind of ties in with the fact that we're going through a new bid process right now that'll take effect next year. And also to try to address some of the code violations we've been having with garbage. I wanted to make you aware of a direct mailing that I did to the property owners and residents on Chalmers Court, where we do have a number of issues. It's kind of been an ongoing issue for us, but I did send a notice to each person over there, and I'm hoping that you know, the instances of non-compliance will go down in numbers over there. Because again, we get really good responses from our residents when, you know, when they're informed of what they have to do. They do, for the most part, address the concerns. So hopefully we've worked with that. Also wanted to make you aware that the 5961 Drummond property has been listed. I think that's probably been causing some of the discussion about residential. There's a small asphalt piece, like a curb cut, actually on DeWitt, where people have been parking. That happens to be like kind of half of that goes with a piece of property that would be sold, half of it stays with the village-owned parcel. So seemed appropriate to make sure that that stayed cleared first so that people could see the boundary lines. There are stakes up there right now, so prospective buyers could see where the property line is, and simply to get people out of the habit of parking up on that land. It's not intended for parking. So I want to be sure you knew about that. Also, I've been working on a tree order and hope to have plantings, 74 trees that hopefully within the month we will have those planted throughout the village at various locations. I also have an arborist who is out looking at our large oak trees. They are some of our oldest, and Alan Bunker had, before he retired, had indicated they needed to be monitored on at least an annual basis to be sure, you know, which ones were good and which ones may need to come down. So we do have somebody out there determining that for us, and later in the year we'll be doing some removals as well. Stumps, we have a lot of stumps out there too, but we're working on that. Just to give you a reminder on the timeline for our tax budget that's coming up. The documents should be ready by the end of this week, and then we have we've advertised the tax budget hearing for June 9th at the work session, and then the hope that council can actually be voting on the tax budget at the June 23rd meeting. We have a lot going on, don't we? The rainwater harvest project is progressing really well. In fact, we should be going out to bid in the next couple of months for that. And again, we're hoping for a construction late in the fall, so it doesn't interfere at all with the golf course or the pool operations. And again, just as a reminder on that, we will, on the market stand, you can picture the poles along there, the metal poles that are holding up the roof. There'll be gutters attached to that, and they'll drain into 2 rain barrels at the end of that. Those will accumulate a certain amount of water, and the rest will drain under Enfield into a rain garden, which is that big green area in front of the pool area. And then from there, it'll drain down into the stormwater system, and a large cistern will be placed down by the garages below the pool level, down there, kind of out of sight. So again, that's moving along real well, and you know, we'll have some signage and ribbon cuttings and things like that as that progresses. So that should be a fun one to stay up on. I'll let you know as things progress there. Even though Jeff isn't here right now, I had met with him earlier in the day to talk about a number of items. One of them is the Alzheimer Run for the Good. They have confirmed that they will have that on the day of our Harvest Fair, Harvest Fest, October 24th, I believe, and they will be doing it in the morning this year, 8:30 a.m. So that was confirmed. We also had just some discussion on the walking paths, and Greg will probably be talking about that a little bit. And also he has, Doug Kohler has submitted 3 pads, I guess you would say, from the Recreation Commission to get some signage put together now and actually get those paths marked. So that's exciting, and I'm sure you'll be hearing a little bit more about that. A little bit sooner than Harvest Fest is Pioneer Day, and there will be a Pioneer Day run in the morning. I believe it's registration at 7:30 and the run at 8, if I have that right. Okay. And the Pioneer Parade will kick off at 10:30. It'll be the same parade route as always. This is on, did I say that, June 27th? Mm-hmm. I don't have a lot of information about a community day, but I know we were hoping to have a community day at the pool that same day in place of a Pioneer Festival. So we'll keep you posted as more information becomes available about that. And one last item I wanted to make you aware of, and that's at Palma Playground. We have completed the replacement of the playground mulch that was on there. So we're real pleased to have that in place if you haven't had a chance to check it out yet. 2 more things. Planning Commission, they are going to be beginning the review of the proposed zoning code. That meeting is on June 9th at 6 p.m. And Planning Commission is going to meet, they have a second meeting scheduled now on another use, a conditional use request from the school district for the placement of modular classrooms at Primary North. And that meeting, we're working on getting that scheduled. I believe that's also for the
June 23rd.
Isn't it? Yeah, 23rd at 6 p.m. I think that's it for now. Legislation, as we go through it, I'll be happy to answer questions as we go through the legislation. Thank you.
Any questions of the manager? Okay, hearing none, Law Director Jeff Forbes.
Thank you, Mayor. Just one item tonight. This is about an issue that was, I think, originally raised at the last council meeting, and then I know there's been some email correspondence, and that it has to do with excusing absent council members and the appropriate process to do that. I've taken a look at both the charter and your rules of council, and what I can tell you is actually there's no requirement in either of those places that you actually take action to excuse an absent council member. The only place that attendance at council meetings is even mentioned as far as being absent is in one provision of the charter that has to do with removal from office. And what it says is that council may remove any of its members for persistent failure to abide by the rules of council or for absence without justifiable excuse from 3 consecutive meetings. Goes on to have a fairly elaborate process then that if the other 2/3 of council want to try to remove somebody because they had 3 unexcused absences, you have to give them notice of the charges, and you have a public hearing, and so my point is that's the only place that whether an absence is excused or unexcused even comes into play, and whether council took any action to excuse someone or not to excuse someone, it doesn't really matter until you get to this potential question, and then it's just a matter of whether the remaining members of council can show that it was unexcused or whether the council member who's being charged with this can come up with justifiable excuse. So there's been a lot of question about what is the proper way to excuse someone. What I'm telling you is that your rules in your charter don't say, and in fact it doesn't even require you to do it. To the extent that you want to, the way it was handled tonight is a perfectly acceptable way to have it noted in the minutes, and that was, without any objection from council, we'll consider this council member's absence excused tonight. So that's a perfectly fine way to do it because you're not really required to do it at all.
I think it's common practice among members of the council that if they're not going to be in attendance, that they notify both the village manager and the mayor at least. And I think all of us practice that religiously.
I'm certain that you do. Just the question came up about whether it had to be done by motion or how it could be done, and I'm just telling you there's no requirement in the charter or otherwise that you even take action.
And I think
Did one of us bring that up? One of the council people?
No, it was
No, it
at
came
the
from a
last
citizen.
council meeting. It was raised by a resident.
Oh, okay.
And then I think there was some
You were
follow-up
absent.
emails about it.
And I think out of common courtesy to our colleagues, we typically call the person that backs us up to say, I'm not going to be here, you have a piece of legislation tonight, or could you present the findings from our last committee meeting, et cetera.
Other than that, I have nothing else to report.
Okay. Clerk of Council, Catherine Lives.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Of the May 2015 community calendar and the ordinance number 2015-03 LNR and resolution number 2015-14F were posted as required. Additionally, notice of the cancellation of the May 18, 2015 Traffic and Safety Committee meeting, the May 26, 2015 Laws and Rules Committee meeting were posted, and the revised Recreation Commission schedule was posted. Also, the clerk did send a letter containing a certified copy of ordinance number 2015-03 LNR to the Planning Commission members, and that letter will be the subject of their meeting on June 9th, as I understand it. So if there are no questions, that would conclude my report.
Okay. Hearing no questions, we'll move on to the Chief of Police, Neil Fertelman.
Thanks, Mayor. Since we've last met, two statewide commissions have released reports, as you probably have seen in the news. One was formed by the governor, one was formed by the state attorney general, both with topics of law enforcement training and law enforcement policies. One of the fortunate things for us is that because of our accredited status, we are well ahead of the curve and already comply with the recommendations that have been formulated by both commissions. And on that same similar vein, we continue to work on a revision to our general orders. We're reducing the size of that manual down from over 100 policies to just a tad over 60. We're currently about 1/3 of the way through that process, with 40 of them still in various stages of completion at this stage. Changing gears just a bit, Lieutenant Ward and I on May 1st attended the kickoff of the new Hamilton County Heroin Task Force, along with a coalition that includes police, fire, representatives of the coroner's office, and the Hamilton County Prosecutor's Office. This is certainly an epidemic that strikes at both the state and local level, and actually on at the federal level. Protocols are being developed to address how we will respond to calls. In fact, you'll be asked to consider and approve a heroin task force resolution tonight that will formalize our involvement with this process, and our involvement comes at no cost to us, and in fact provides us with some outside resources in terms of investigative assistance. We are using drug forfeiture funding to purchase 2 new Motorola police radios. Our current model of radio will be phased out in the future as parts become unavailable, and these 2 new radios will begin the replacement process for us. One of the things that has been accomplished again since we met was Chief DeMasi of Mount Healthy and I met with Clerk of Courts Tracy Winkler, and we were very pleased with the results of that meeting. In the past, whenever we had transfers or appeals downtown, we would either have to take an officer off the street or one of us would have to go downtown to file the paperwork in a timely manner. As a result of the agreement by Clerk Winkler, we will now be forwarding those in electronic format, which saves gas, saves time, and parking expenses downtown. And in conclusion, during the month of April, we investigated 4 traffic accidents, 9 crimes, 206 other incidents. Had a total of 745 contacts, down a little bit from last year, 822 last year. We provided assistance to the public in 126 instances. We assisted other police agencies 70 times. We made 32 criminal arrests and 77 traffic arrests.
Any questions of the chief? Okay, and does anybody have anything to say for the fire chief? Nothing? Okay. All right. And on my report, the only thing I have tonight is I've issued a proclamation, and I'm actually going to have Mr. Dries read it, because there are names of some people in there that he knows how to pronounce, and I don't want to.
We're going to find out
myself.
if I do how to pronounce them. So can we have the students come on?
I was able to pick up on the first name that you guys selected, but
Joyce,
it's the last name that was tough.
Do you want to have them come on out?
Sure.
And not,
Yeah.
come on up front, and I'll just read from here so you can
Okay.
hear them. And then, so if you guys want to come up, stand in front of the table there, and maybe
Smile at the camera.
you can face the camera there. This is from the Office of the Mayor of the Village of Green Hills. Whereas the Village of Green Hills is a welcoming place for all people, and whereas the residents of the Village of Green Hills have opened their homes to students from IEUSA School in Shanghai, China, and whereas Joyce Pan, Molly Liu, Penny Fan, Jennifer Yu, Jerry Yang, Frank Zhu, Frank Xiao, Peter Zhao, and Kevin Liu came to Green Hills and attended Winton Woods High School, and where they have studied English, U.S. government, and other subjects, whereas the Village of Green Hills recognizes their accomplishments, achievements, and contributions to our community. Now, therefore, I, David Moore, Mayor of the Village of Green Hills, declare May 27th, 2015, Shanghai Student Day in the Village of Green Hills. All residents are instructed to show them honor and respect that they have earned. In witness thereof, I have hereunto set my hand and caused the seal of the Village of Green Hills, Ohio, to be affixed this 26th day of May in the year 2015. David Moore, Mayor, Village of Green Hills. So this is Joyce, Frank, Z, Penny, Molly, and Peter. And your name is Miss Bill, and I'll get that fixed. My Mandarin is not quite as good as my English. So, make sure you look at it, or get your picture taken. So thank you, and we're glad that you're here this school year, and have a safe journey home whenever you head home in the next few weeks.
Okay. Moving on to committee reports, Traffic and Safety Committee, Councilmember Brokaw.
We did not meet in the month of May, but we will be meeting in June. Due to a conflict with one of our members, we are going to move the date, to June 8th. So it'll be Monday, June 8th at 4:30. That's all I have.
Okay, any questions? Hearing none, Finance and Audit, Dries.
All right, we got a lot going on in the finance and audit area. We were successful in refinancing some of the voted debt, and the most favorable quote for that bond refinancing was from Fifth Third. We refinanced $380,000 at 4.25% interest. There was a $20,000 issuance cost and interest fees for the period from May 28th to July 1st, when we actually will be part of the new bond. The bond refinancing 10-year term will result in $64,412 in savings to taxpayers. For those of you that don't work with municipal debt every day, we have some what we call voted debt and non-voted debt. And the voted debt is what we refinanced. And so that was what the taxpayers at the poll said, yes, take on this debt to do work in housing. So when that money's collected, it can only go to pay that debt. And so to the extent that we refinance it and reduce it, it actually lowers your tax bill, all other things being equal. So if your property value does not change, your tax bill actually goes down. So that's the voted debt piece. So we were successful in doing that. We are working on, as Yvonne mentioned, we're working on the 2016 tax budget, which I'm still having trouble writing 2015, and we're already on 2016. That'll be available at the end of the week, and our first hearing will be June 9th on that budget. Just a few numbers of where we're at through April. Our two main sources of revenue for the village operations are income tax and property tax. We receive that real estate tax twice a year. Because of the decline in value of real estate within the village, last year I'm going to round these off to the nearest thousand. We collected $192,000 this year. We collected $183,000, so we're off about $9,000 on that. So that makes it more difficult to run the village if we give the manager less money every year to do that. On a more positive note, it looks like the recovery must be happening in Greenhills from an income standpoint, because our income tax revenue last year was $276,000 as of April this time last year, and for 2015 it's $314,000. So we're up $37,000 on the income tax revenue. So that's the revenue side. Now the expense side, or what have we done? Last year we had appropriated about $1,596,000 for the total year and appropriated $581,000. This year we have total appropriations of $1,685,000. We've only expended $536,000. We've spent roughly 32% of the appropriation this for the year. So if you're a third of the way through the year and you've spent 32%, that's probably a good cash flow model. So we're not spending it faster than we anticipated, and we are expending it in relationship to our appropriation. So all in all, we are in a very tight budget season, but things are in respectable shape. So that concludes my report.
Okay. Comments, questions?
I do have a question on the Ohio checkbook that we were going to participate. That it was mentioned that was going to be effective June the 1st. Do we know if that is going to happen on June 1st, or?
I'm not aware that it's going to actually happen on June 1st, but we are still pursuing it. So
okay.
Yeah.
That's it.
Okay. Recreation, Cable TV, Councilmember Hermes.
Guten Abend. I guess coming back in the town, a few of the things I was trying to catch up on. I know what Yvonne was talking about, the municipal manager, about the 27th of June, as far as having the parade and also the run. The plan is definitely to have a community day at the pool, and kind of a nice long day, and having some eatery and some entertainment and that type of thing. That would be the plan, just to celebrate that before the 4th of July, so it shouldn't be that busy of a weekend. Also, I guess the second, I think they changed the Recreation Commission meetings to the second Wednesday of the month at 6 o'clock. And so that's changed a little bit, just to kind of help out the other people who just need to have it a better time for them, better day. Let's see. I think that was about it. I'm still trying to recoup from getting back into town and all the things that I have to do, so I've got to catch up with a lot of things. That's all I really have to say.
Questions, comments? Okay. Intergovernmental Affairs, Laws and Rules, Councilmember Lee.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. The May 26th meeting of Laws and Rules was canceled as there was really no agenda to address at that particular time. We have rescheduled a meeting for Laws and Rules at 10 a.m. on June 22nd. That's Monday, June 22nd. That's it for Laws and Rules. No response for community development from Mr. Oliver.
Okay. Comments or questions? Hearing none. Service and Streets, Councilmember Walther.
Yeah, we originally intended to have a committee meeting today, but we did not have a meeting. I just asked a few questions and discussions on what's going on because I didn't have a quorum to have a meeting. We know that the Malloy's deck work was done, it's finished, that the Winton Road, as you mentioned, the phase 2, it's only just the last items that needs to be done and a couple of the basins that have to be redone. Other than that, everything is done. We mentioned the fact that we are looking for a truck at this time. We have a choice between a 450 and a 550, but we have not made any decisions on that yet. The painting of the service department building, it's under warranty. The paint keeps peeling. It will be taken care of. It's under warranty, and they have to get the paint to do that. We also discussed the garbage and refuse disposal, and I suggested at the time that perhaps a rewording is in order for both the ordinance, and also mentioned that the fences covering the garbage cans and so forth under the zoning needs also to have take a look at that as well. And we mentioned that we will do that. We discussed the Chalmers Court issues, and we also brought up a point that there are some monies coming up, and there is a pending legislation that has to be done the next time that we meet at a work session. Ms. Kovac, would you like to expand on that? Because this was so perfect. We discussed everything on the work session before, and every single piece of legislation has been discussed before, but this one is going to be off-killed because you did not get the actual paper today prior to this meeting. So would you please expound on that?
Sure. And this is related to the municipal road fund money that we are going to be getting for Winton Road Phase 2. To help offset this cost. And in fact, I did hear from them today that our packet was mailed to us, so I'll have it in a couple of days, but timing didn't allow us to get it in time for this meeting. So yeah, we're hopeful. This would simply be authorizing me to sign the agreement with the county commissioners, and then I can go ahead and invoice for the money and get it in here so we can pay for our roads.
So in other words,
at our June 9th
what
meeting.
we want to do on the June 9th meeting is get that through, so in order for you to close that deal, in
Correct.
other words, and just get that debt out of the way.
Yes.
So I appreciate that, and we will just
Thank
go
you.
ahead and run for the legislation then on the 9th of June.
Okay, great. That would be great.
And I wanted to bring it up first to make sure that it's presented and discussed to all members of council, so it would not be a surprise at that time. We also touched briefly on the grass cutting, that I found out that it was much better, improved from the last time, and some additional extras are going to be happening for the weeds and so forth, so I was really pleased with that. I also would like to mention the fact that the Hamilton County Municipal League will meet on June 29th. We don't have the location yet, but they will be sending out the messages out. The Streets and Services will meet June the 29th at 9 o'clock. I also wanted to bring up the point that I attended the Student Achievement Committee meeting on the 11th of May. I attended the Hamilton County Municipal League on April the 29th, and there I found out that the Municipal League has hired a gentleman that is a lobbyist to bring direct information and discussion at anything that will have a bearing on us as the group of the Municipal County League, Hamilton County Municipal League. Like I said, we did not have per se a meeting today because we couldn't have it, but I did discuss those items. I wanted to bring it forth. And I also was just handed this, Mr. Mayor. Perhaps this is an item for work session. I don't know.
Or just if anybody is interested in going, but we can.
It's some kind of a peace parade. I think it's of sorts, and it's in August. And if we want to discuss that, it's addressed to you.
Right.
If we would
I
like
just shared it because they're inviting council members to.
If we would like to
join in
discuss
if you
that on
want
the
to.
work session, perhaps that's a matter for discussion. And with that, that concludes my report. Thank you very much.
Okay. Any questions or comments?
Mine's just a comment. I noticed coming home today on June Field, closer to Sharon Road. I don't know if one of the sewers or grates is covered, but it was flaking over near one closer to Sharon Road. So I didn't know if maybe leaves were stuck or it was just that much rain. And
Was it after you passed the first intersection?
yes, it was
Before you
past.
start up the hill?
It was past Junedale, but before. Is that January?
Yes.
But before January. So I noticed it there. And I noticed it at the end of my street as well, but I thought that was more due to yard debris, but I wasn't.
It's right there at the culvert.
So,
Yeah.
so I didn't know if that was something.
Okay.
If we periodically check them, that would be one
Okay,
that I noticed.
thank you.
Okay. Anybody want to report anything for community development?
Yes, I'll step in for Mr. Halder. He would mention that on June 22nd, Monday at 7 o'clock, there's a meeting of the Community Development Committee. And I believe that's on the village calendar. And as long as we're mentioning maintenance issues, Madam Manager, I attended some t-ball games up at Palma Park, and the fences that are in front of the dugout or the seats where the players sit, the ties at the top of the chain link have come off. I know squirrels like to sharpen their teeth on those, or at least they do at my house. But the players are either hanging or leaning against the fence or putting their heads between the top rail, and it adds to the excitement of the t-ball game, obviously. But I think perhaps maybe if we could add something to tie down those things to the rail, that would be nice.
Yeah, thank you.
Sure.
Okay, any questions? All right, hearing none, new business. We have an ordinance number 2015-04 L&R, ordinance amending certain sections of the Greenhills Employee Handbook. Mr. Lee.
Mr. Mayor, I move that we suspend the rules for requiring the reading of the first reading of the ordinance in full and read by title only.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
No opposition? Okay.
Okay. This ordinance number 2015-04-L&R, ordinance amending certain sections of the Greenhills Employee Handbook.
First reading. Okay, we've got another one, ordinance number 2015-05 L&R, ordinance amending Greenhills Code of Ordinances, Chapter 1315, International Property Maintenance Code.
Mr. Mayor, I move to suspend the rules for requiring the reading of the ordinance in full and read by title only.
Second.
All those in favor say aye. Opposed, no.
Aye.
Okay. Motion carries.
Ordinance number 2015-05 L&R. Ordinance amending Greenhills Code of Ordinances, Chapter 1315, International Property Maintenance Code.
Okay. First reading. Okay. Resolution 2015-15-F, resolution requesting information from the Hamilton County Auditor for purposes of evaluating and levying a tax exceeding the 10 mil limitation. Councilmember Dries.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Clerk, am I correct that I've got to read the whole thing? I kind of thought so. Mr. Mayor, I have a resolution 2015-15F, resolution requesting information from the Hamilton County Auditor for purposes of evaluating and levying a tax exceeding the 10 mil limitation. Whereas the Village Council has preliminarily determined that the amount of taxes which may be raised within the 10 mil limitation will be insufficient to fund necessary services provided by the Village of Greenhills, Hamilton County, Ohio. And whereas the primary purpose and intent of such funding is for recreational purposes as authorized by 5705.19H of the Ohio Revised Code, and whereas Ohio Revised Code 5705.03 requires the Village Council to obtain certain information from the County Auditor prior to proceeding with the submission of a tax levy to the electors of the village. Now, therefore, be it resolved by the Council of the Village of Greenhills, Ohio, Hamilton County, Section 1, that the Village Council has preliminarily determined that it is necessary to levy a tax in excess of the 10 mil limitation for the benefit of the residents of Greenhills for recreational purposes as authorized by Ohio Revised Code 5705.19H. Section 2, that the levy may be placed upon the tax list is a renewal levy. Section 3, that the Village Council hereby requests information from the County Auditor related to the current total tax valuation of the village and the dollar amount of revenue that would be generated by a levy of tax at a rate not exceeding 0.7 mils for each $1 valuation. Section 4, that the Clerk of the Village Council is hereby directed to immediately certify to the County Auditor that this resolution and obtain from the County Auditor the information requested here under. Mr. Mayor, I move to adopt this resolution.
Second.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded to adopt resolution 2015-15-F. Roll call. Wait, any discussion?
Yeah, Mr. Mayor, if I could, Mr. Dries, it is a renewal levy, but this is more for the operations of recreational. This is not an extension of the paying off the pool.
That's correct. Not at all.
Yeah, this
5 years ago, we went through this levy to where we got more money funded to us because we were averaging right around 14,000 to 15,000.
The levy 5 years ago. This is the 5-year.
Exactly.
renewal. Okay, that's fine.
And this is a first step of 2 that we have to take.
Yeah.
So,
and am I correct, this does not have to be read 2 times on 2 separate occasions?
Not the resolution.
No, it's a resolution.
Okay.
hearing no further questions. Roll call.
Brokaw,
Aye.
Dries.
Aye.
Hermes.
Aye.
Lee.
Aye.
Walther.
Aye.
Okay, resolution 2015-15F. Resolution requesting information from Hamilton County Auditor for purposes of evaluating and levying a tax exceeding the 10 mil limitations. Carries. Okay, we have one more. Resolution 2015-16 TNS. Resolution authorizing the Village of Greenhills Police Department to participate in the Hamilton County Heroin Coalition Task Force.
Mr. Mayor, I move to adopt resolution number 2015-16 TNS, a resolution authorizing the Village of Greenhills Police Department to participate in the Hamilton County Heroin Coalition Task Force. Whereas heroin-involved deaths in Hamilton County, including homicides and overdose fatalities, numbered 177 in 2014 and 182 in 2013. And whereas law enforcement authorities on the local, state, and federal level recognize that heroin-involved deaths require a coordinated response from law enforcement together with other community resources, and further requires a consistent investigative response across jurisdictional lines. And whereas the epidemic of heroin-involved deaths and overdose incidents constitutes a present public emergency affecting the safety and health of county residents and communities, and whereas Hamilton County has formed the Hamilton County Heroin Coalition to serve as a platform for collaboration between cities, townships, and agencies now addressing the heroin opiate addiction problem and its attendant issues. And whereas the Hamilton County Heroin Coalition has established a law enforcement task force to investigate and prosecute crimes related to heroin overdose incidents in Hamilton County, Ohio. And whereas the Village of Greenhills has adopted and participates in the countywide mutual aid agreement, which provides for multi-jurisdictional cooperation in law enforcement matters, including multi-jurisdictional drug task forces. Now therefore be it resolved by the Council of the Village of Greenhills, Ohio, Section 1, that the Police Department is hereby authorized to participate in the Hamilton County Heroin Coalition Task Force together with other law enforcement agencies in the investigation of heroin overdose incidents. Section 2, that the municipal manager is authorized to enter into memoranda of understanding with the task force and other local, state, and federal authorities to accomplish the purposes for which the task force was formed. I so move.
Okay, any questions on
Second.
Oh, just racing along here. Any questions on this resolution?
No, it's a
Discussion.
difficult
idea.
problem, and we need to be working hand in hand with neighboring law enforcement.
It's something we've talked about in our Traffic and Safety Committee as well, and we've had residents approach us with interest and concern as well.
Okay, clerk call the roll for the vote.
Dries.
Aye.
Hermes.
Aye.
Lee.
Aye.
Walther.
Aye.
Roll call.
Aye.
Okay, resolution 2015-16 TNS, resolution authorizing the Village of Greenhills Police Department to participate in the Hamilton County Heroin Coalition Task Force carries. Okay, we have no
Mr.
more
Lee.
resolutions or ordinances. Mr. Lee, you want to make a motion?
Yes.
Are we going to do anything afterwards? If not, can we do the calendar before we go into the... I move to
Okay.
amend the agenda to move the calendar before the next item.
Second?
All those in favor to move the calendar?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, so be it. Calendar.
Traffic and Safety, June 8th at 4:30.
Laws and Rules, June 22nd, 10 a.m. Community Development, June 22nd at 7 p.m.
Recreation Commission meeting, June 10th, 6 p.m.
Street and Services on June 29th at 9 a.m.
Pioneer Days, June 27th, parade at 10:30.
Race at 8.
8 o'clock, 8 a.m. Okay. And Planning Commission, you're going to do Planning Commission? Okay. Go ahead. Fire away.
Planning Commission, June 23rd, I almost said September 23rd, June 23rd.
That's June 9th, too.
June 9th and June 23rd.
Yes. Is that 6 o'clock both times?
Yes.
Okay. Budget hearing, June 9th, 7 o'clock.
Oh, I know one. First concert, June 3rd.
Yes, yes.
God, you were hiding that from us.
It was.
And that will be Denham Road.
Denham Road?
Mm-hmm.
Do you have the list? The knock list?
I got it off the website and entered it into my phone.
Good job. Oh,
Dude,
yes, it's on the-
text it
it's
to
on
me.
the website.
Yes. Now we'll go back to Mr.
All right. Mr. Mayor, I move that we go into executive sessions for purposes of discussing employment and compensation of a public official.
Second.
You said it first, me? You.
And we roll call. Ready? Roll call. Go ahead.
Hermes.
Aye.
Lee.
Aye.
Walther.
Aye.
Roll call.
Aye.
And Dries.
Aye.
And it is my understanding we're not doing anything.
Correct. We're leaving after the executive session.